Welcome back to LM Diesel, and today we are installing some suspension parts on the 3rd gen. So today we're going to be saying goodbye to these stock control arms. Big thanks to Stryker Off-Road Design for sending these out. These are their fabricated control arms for a level truck. So my truck is lifted about 2 to 3 inches, so these are slightly longer than stock. But as you can tell, these things are heavy duty, man. Like, they are like heavy. They got some real weight to them. They look great. The finish is great. They also have grease zerks as well, so I'll be able to grease these, make sure to keep them good and lubricated. Honestly, one of the reasons why I've been wanting to get longer control arms for a while is, number one, it is like an upgrade over stock. You should get some better ride quality, but for me in particular, I want to run bigger tires. I would love to run some 24x14s, and I believe with these I should be able to get full turn lock to lock without rubbing. So that's the benefit of running a longer control arm. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace one of these at a time. I think this is going to be the easiest way to do it rather than taking it all off at once. I've seen that some people have done it like this online, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, I've spent entirely way too long trying to get that bolt out. I saw online that you just need to buy new ones, and I didn't listen, so I ordered them on Amazon. So yeah, I'm going to cut this out like they showed on some of the other videos and kind of go from there. But it does seem like you can do these arms one at a time, and I would be like halfway done if that would come out, but it's totally seized. So I'm just focusing on getting everything else done that I can while I'm waiting on those. So I moved to the upper control arms, got those off. They actually weren't that difficult to do, and I'm going to show you the comparison here. As you can see, this is our old upper control arm, and then this is our new one. Obviously, if you line up these holes right there, you can see that this one is slightly longer. That's the first thing to note, and obviously it should be, right, because that's the whole reason why I got these. The other thing you'll notice is, like, this is heavy duty, really solid. This is really light, so this is a much better part. And then finally, this thing you can actually put in grease zerks. This thing has no grease zerks. So just comparing it to stock, there's literally no comparison. So I'm gonna go ahead, get this on, and try to finish up the other side too. I have a jack stand underneath the axle here with a tire on the other side, and then I have the jack here holding it up. So I just put a little pressure there, set that down there, and it was pretty easy to come out. Couple bolts, nothing too crazy, and it seemed to come out. So let's go ahead and get the new one in. Alright, so got the grease zerks installed, and I have the control arm installed. Definitely had to finagle it a little bit to get in there, but it is now in there and secure and good and tight, and it is looking good. Just the top one, can't wait to get the bottom one in. But for now, we're gonna hop on to the other side and get this one installed. Alright, so as you can tell, it is the next day, and let me show you where we're at. So we have the upper control arms installed on both sides, as you can tell. They were pretty easy. Honestly, it was just kind of this bolt here that was kind of difficult to get to and put on, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. Alright, so we have our new camber adjustment bolts here. Obviously the new control arms here, and then our grease zerks here. So to get the old control arms out, we're going to have to cut those old seized bolts. So basically you can see where I beat on this thing for a good while trying to get it to unseize. There's no pressure or anything on this arm. You know, you could sit there and move it, but yeah, it just did not want to come out. So what I'm gonna do is just grab a Sawzall and just zoop, cut on each side. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we got it cut out. I actually did have to run to the store and get a pretty heavy duty Sawzall blade to be able to cut it out, and it did actually take a little bit. It was not an easy cut. Man, these things look so so sick. Okay, so just to do a comparison on the lower control arms, got these out finally. As you can tell, had to cut each one of these bolts off. Got the new hardware here, so excited to use that. You can also see here that these bushings were starting to go out. These are the factory control arms, so I'm really excited to get these on. Obviously here are the new lower control arms. First thing to note, obviously we have our grease zerks here installed. These take a lot of grease, which is awesome. And just to compare, like, once again, heavy duty, bold, to the point. These are hollow, lighter, just not as good, not as quality, and don't look nearly as good. All right, guys, I am stoked because we got the control arms in. Let's take a look. Dude, this looks so sick. I am just loving that. Got this side done and in. Wow, man, that looks so sick. I love how those look. Well, I guess we just need to button everything up and then take it for a test drive and see how it does. All right, so we're in the truck, we're cruising. It's been a couple days actually, and I've kind of been testing these control arms out and seeing just how the front end feels. So just to start out with, the main goal of getting longer control arms is to center your axle, get your tires pushed up a little bit so that they don't rub. So my tires did rub a little bit before, and I will say that it has been great because these control arms definitely push the axle forward and my tires no longer rub. The driver's side tire rubs a little bit actually on the front bumper now and not the rear. Part of that I think can be a little bit adjusted. The other part of that too is that my truck has about a 2-inch level, and I will say that if I had gone with like a 3-inch Carly spring or something like that, I don't think it would rub at all, which is fantastic. So as far as how the front end feels, the front end feels better. Is it like a night and day difference though? No, if I'm being honest, it really isn't. Now I really just need to loosen up the rear end because the rear end's still pretty stiff. So I'm gonna at some point probably take a couple leaves out of the rear and, you know, kind of get the rear end to feel a little bit better. But did these arms accomplish what I needed them to? Absolutely. And do they look really good while doing it? Absolutely. So I got no problem recommending these Stryker arms. I think they're great quality. I think the finish is great. I think they work exactly how they're advertised, and I think they look really cool too.